If I died 4 years ago, I would go to hell. I went to church every Sunday, prayed every day, read my Bible, so I considered myself a Christian, and everyone around me thought I was one. But that wasn't the truth. My life told a completely different story. During the week, I was partying, I was sleeping around, I was using substances. I thought if I ticked a few boxes like church and prayer and Bible reading, God would forgive the rest. I thought I could live like I wanted and still be saved. That's how wrong I was. I lived for two worlds at the same time. On Sundays, I would smile, I sang the songs, I looked like I was devoted. But earlier that morning, I was dancing around in the club completely wasted. I was out all night doing things I shouldn't have been. And I just tell myself, God will forgive me. I pray every day, I go to church, that's enough. But it wasn't. I never really knew God. I knew about Him, but I didn't believe Him in my heart. I thought salvation was about appearances, and the scariest part of it was that I believed my own lie. Matthew 7 verse 21 says, "Not everyone who says to me, 'Lord, Lord,' will enter the kingdom of heaven, but only the one who does the will of my Father." And that scared me. I realized that saying "Lord, Lord" every Sunday didn't matter if my life on the other day said something completely different. I was a fan of Jesus, but not a follower. I loved the idea of God more than I loved Him. I wanted the blessings, the comfort, the approval, but not the cost of actually following Him. It took me a really long time to understand what it means to be a Christian. It's not about going to church or reading the Bible or praying when it's convenient. Those things alone will not save you. Being a Christian is giving Jesus full control over your life. It's about letting Him shape your desires, your decisions, and even your dreams. It's about living for Him, not just knowing about Him. You can look like a good person on the outside, but if your heart is still chasing comfort and approval or pleasure on your own terms, you're missing the point entirely. Jesus didn't come to make you religious. He came to make you alive. Here's the truth people get wrong. Sin doesn't make you unsaved. We all sin every single day. Even Paul struggled with sin. The problem isn't that I sinned on Saturdays. The problem was that I thought I could live my own way and still be okay with God. Salvation isn't about ticking boxes. It's about surrender. It's about letting your heart follow Him even when you fail. I had to face the fact that I wasn't just a sinner. I was someone pretending to be saved while running full speed toward destruction. I had to admit that the life I was living would have sent me to hell, and that hit me harder than anything I'd ever expected. There were nights I sat alone in my room, high, hungover, or heartbroken, and I asked myself, is this really what life is supposed to be? I had everything the world told me I wanted, parties and friends, excitement, but none of it filled the emptiness. I realized that all the church, all the prayers, all the appearances didn't change anything. I was still dead on the inside. That's when I knew I had to stop living for myself. I couldn't just pray for change and keep doing the same thing. I had to surrender completely, or I would never escape the path I was on. So I started over. Not by going to church more or by praying more often or reading more verses. I had to start living honestly. I cut off friends who pulled me back into old lifestyles. I stopped partying. I stopped chasing temporary pleasure. I started spending more time with God because I wanted to know Him, not just get something from Him. And it was hard, really hard. Old habits fought me every day. Old friends didn't understand me. But slowly my life started to change. I began to feel alive in a way I never had before. And I'm not saying that I was perfect all of a sudden, because I wasn't and I never will be. But being a Christian isn't about perfection. It's about surrender. It's about letting Him rule your life and letting Him transform you even when it's uncomfortable. If you're watching this video and you thought you could play this game with God, it's time to wake up, my friend. Going to church, praying, reading your Bible, none of that counts if your heart isn't surrendered. Being a Christian costs you something. It's not comfortable, and it's not about appearances. It's about following Him daily. The difference between religion and salvation isn't what you do outwardly. It's what you let Him do inwardly. Don't wait until it's too late to realize that.